Morning, everybody. It's the 30th of July. Welcome to the last trading day of the month. We are Signal Centre Talking Bull. I'm Joe Neighbour, joined by Steve O'Hare. Morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Everything all right with you today?
Yeah, all good with me. How's the
Good.
medals going?
Oh, I've been smashing it this morning, Steve.
Oh, really?
6 medals this morning.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Bloody hell!
it's going
We must be
off, mate.
outperforming. It must be outperforming our expectation now.
Yeah, we're ahead of where we were in the last 2 Olympics, I think.
Yeah.
So just missed out on a canoe slalom medal this morning, but we've got 2 BMX medals today. We've got a gold. Bethany Shriever got a gold, and then Kai White took a silver. We then got a bronze in the trampolining. We got another silver in the swimming, then a bronze
Brilliant.
in the swimming. Then I think the GB8 rowing team took a bronze, and we've got 2 boxing matches where I think there's loads of medals available in the boxing still, but we've got 2 guaranteed there as well. So
It's fantastic.
yeah,
I
smashing
saw one of
it.
the swimming, one of the rowing things are double sculls or something missed out by 100th of a second or something.
Yeah, that
That
was
heartbreaking.
pretty tough to take.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Oh, that's really good. And
Going pretty good.
British and Irish lines tomorrow.
Yes.
Very exciting. Should be an action-packed weekend.
Indeed. Okay, so let's get on with what's going on in the markets. Amazon missed quarterly sales estimates for the first time since 2018 yesterday. The world's biggest e-commerce retailer reported sales and gave forecasts that fell short of expectations, sending its shares lower by around about 7% in extended trading. So that's not something you see every day, and I imagine there'll be a few investors waiting to pick up the pieces from that because obviously they are an absolute juggernaut of a company, and no doubt they'll be back pretty soon. So yeah, bit of a shock. Doesn't really seem to have upset the index too much or people's perception of risk, but we'll come onto the chart shortly. Price increases continue to be a concern in Europe's largest economy. In Germany, the inflation rate jumped to its highest level since 2008 as coronavirus restrictions were lifted and the economy reopened. So obviously further concerns around inflation there. Stocks a little bit lower today. More concern over China's crackdown and growing coronavirus cases continues to weigh on sentiment. Another busy day for earnings today. In the UK, we've had Glencore and NatWest both reporting. We've also had IAG, who's the British Airways owner, and a few big names out of Europe as well, including BNP Paribas and Hermes. On the US side of things, it's a bit quieter. We've got consumer goods group Procter and Gamble, and also Chevron and Caterpillar reporting today. So to close off the week, we're going to have a look through the charts. Just finally, on the data front yesterday, the GDP number was weaker than expected in the US, and also jobless claims were too. Although the markets are likely to be dented by the predicted losses for Amazon in the wake of their post-earnings disappointment, that seems to have overshadowed the GDP number. But we'll get onto the charts anyway. Steve, where do you want to start today?
Well, may as well just dive into indices. FTSE is ending the week pretty much where we opened the week this week rather. On the day we're sort of overnight, we've had a bit of a sell-off. We've engulfing yesterday's shooting star candle. That's negative candle. So yeah, potential for
just going back to that, Steve. If you on the trend line on the daily, if you was that a retest maybe of the underside of the channel?
It wasn't far off a retest. It was a sort of like quite a decent line, especially if you sort of like
if you had it taken into account that low.
Yeah, I suppose you would have had a trend line there.
Yeah.
The trend line has to be made up of 3 points. The first point, second and third point, that's a trend line. Then the break yesterday was the break on the 16th of July was the first sign of weakness, followed through right to a support level 68.11, and then the nice bounce back up. And yes, retest got above it and failed. Looks to be failing. So on a weekly basis,
and a crossover on that MACD as well.
Yeah, that won't look too clever. So yeah, pretty on the 4-hour chart. We've had a bit of a reaction from just about around the 7,000 level, trading around 7,013 at the moment. So a break of really, I would say, well, a clear break and close below 7,000 on the 4-hour chart would be negative and take us below the 60-minute cloud, so may lead to further losses. The DAX has already had a bit of a sell-off, but it's recovered in the last hour. Yeah, the last hour we've had this like sell-off down to 50,436, 37. Reacted higher from there. But yeah, looking a little bit negative. I think we were buying a dip in DAX. We triggered on that. That's quite close to our stop already. But you can see the sort of like the price action that we've seen over the last few months, and it's been pretty sideways, pretty spiky. It spikes in both directions, so volatile, but not really going anywhere. Weekly chart on the Dow Jones last week we posted a hanging man candle, and this week it hasn't really done a lot at all. It's hung around the all-time highs, and we're seeing this these sort of like spike higher. And again, we're sort of seeing it again. So we're at sort of like quite decent levels, but really it's very difficult to push on from here. We've got a potential supportive trend line coming in the Nasdaq just below at 14,750. That was close to the swing low of the 27th of July. That was Monday. S&Ps as well. Doji yesterday. Was it all-time high yesterday in S&Ps? Looks like it. 44.30. But bearish today. So that's looking, again, I think if we could get a break down below the 43.70 level, maybe a little bit more bearishness this afternoon. But it never seems to happen, does it? So Aussie 200, yeah, price action negative overnight. China 50 has also broken lower. We recovered to resistance at 15,700. Had the sort of like sell-off overnight. We said it could be a bearish flag, and it has sort of like played out. It was like a bit of an extended sideways move, but then at 2 o'clock this morning, bang, we had the sell-off. So that still remains under pressure, the China 50. Hang Seng, a little bit of the same, and obviously the Nikkei has followed through and has actually made a new low. So it's a lower low after the 27th swing low. So yeah, pretty negative looking, and again looks to be forming a bit of a bearish flag here. So could be a little bit of extended sell-off if we manage to get below the 27,270 level. Commodities. Let's take a look at oil. Oil's picked up a little bit. Nice upward trending move. We still think on a weekly basis we could potentially be in a corrective phase at the moment. So if we look at this weekly chart, one thing we should think about is this the fifth wave? If it's not the fifth wave and we're still in a third wave, we had this retracement here, potentially means we've still got another leg higher. So let's take away this. Let's redraw the impulsive move. Let's look at this scenario. Are we still in the third wave? Is the third wave there? Are we having the correction lower? Because it can correct all the way down to here if it wants. So are we just having this correction before the fifth and final wave? Definitely want to think about this. Felt like the end of the third wave, and still could be, but it really, if we manage to break above this resistant area here, that means we're still in a third wave higher. Or sorry, we could be either still in a third wave higher, or this could be we've had the fourth wave correction already and we're on to a fifth wave, which third wave should be the longest. So, but it does sort of like then correspond with people thinking $100 oil next year. So, one to watch. Anyway, enough of that. Gold is looking pretty nice at the moment. It's back up. It sort of had a little bit of a move back up towards this 1834 level. Topped out at 1832.80, just sitting below there. So I think a break of this 1834 should see an extension higher towards 1848 at least, and then 1875, and then we've got 1916. So it's looking pretty punchy at the moment. It has been quite an accelerated move higher, so it could do with a bit of a correction, but maybe we've had it down to 1825 and we're going to go again. So yeah, just have a quick look at crypto. It seems to be Bitcoin's struggling to get above this 40,900 level. This is the weekly chart, and we can see 3 times we've sort of like tried to pierce this level. A break above the 40,900 would lead to an extended move higher. However, selling in front of it is reaping dividends at the moment. Momentum stalling on a weekly basis, but on a daily basis, the positive momentum is starting to stall as well. We're getting doji candle yesterday and negative looking candle today. So look, signs of topping out on a daily basis. On a weekly basis, it looks a little bit more constructive, but really needs to break above this right shoulder to get me smiling and raving about crypto again.
Cool. Thanks, Steve. Let's get stuck into FX then for the last time this week. So the correction continued yesterday on the dollar index. Big down day, as you can see, followed up with a worse than expected GDP reading. And now we're getting ever closer to that 38.2% Fibonacci support level, which is coming in at 91.80, 91.79. So we'll wait and see if there's going to be any support there. Looking to the left, there isn't really much to sort of go by. So it is a bit of a level out there by itself. I think the 50% is really the one that I'm most interested in, because we've got some previous highs back here to focus on, which could attract some fresh buying interest. Potentially it could overextend towards the 61.8 and the 78.6. Certainly the momentum is bearish in the very short term, and there is no sign of the supporters of dollar index coming in just yet. So for now, it looks like we're going to continue to slide lower, and that will be having a positive effect on euro dollar, as you can see, breaking out of this wedge, pushing higher, not quite at the 38.2% fib level yet. That's up at 119.48. Could be some resistance in and around there, and obviously that has got potential, like the dollar index does, to continue moving to the upside. So very much looking bullish for euro dollar in the very short term. The overall picture for me is still a little bit sketchy, so I'll be looking to potentially fade into these gains in and around the sort of 1.2000 level. But for now, momentum looks good, and it looks as though we're going to finish the week off in pretty good fashion. We're also seeing decent strength in sterling versus the US dollar. I thought this had potentially completed a double top on the move below support here on the 20th of July, but it wasn't to be. We then engulfed all of the previous day's losses, and since then we haven't looked back. We have bust through resistance at 139.10. We've also bust through that downtrend, short-term downtrend line, and it looks as though we are heading higher on that as well. So wouldn't be surprised to see that head up towards sort of 141.00. In the short term. You could argue that the volume is dropping off a little bit, so how supportive it will be, I'm not sure, but no immediate signs of it slowing down, and that's on the back of 4 consecutive up closes, potentially 5 today if we can hold on. So looking good on that front. Aussie, well, that's still sort of languishing a bit. Yes, there has been a bit of a bounce, but certainly nothing to the extent that we've seen the likes of euro dollar and sterling versus US dollar. So still fancy that for lower prices, and wouldn't be looking for that to get a whole lot higher than where it is at the moment, to be honest, before beginning to initiate selling again on that. New Zealand dollar, that's continued to sort of hold support. Yes, we saw a couple of breakdowns or fake downs here, but it seems to be holding support around about the 169.27 level, and we've seen a good couple of days of strength there. What else should we have a look at? Anything else sort of sticking out? I don't think there was much else really. That's, the big story is really what's going on with the dollar index and the correction higher in euro dollar. So I'll leave it there for the week on the FX front.
Nice one.
Okay, gun to the head. We're on a bit of a stinker at the minute, Steve, so we need to try and buck our ideas up with this. We got stopped out on gold and euro dollar yesterday, both calling those wrong. So yeah, hopefully we can end the week on a bit of a more positive note. What do you fancy today?
I'm not sure what I fancy. I'm sort of like trying to get a little bit of.
I'll tell you what. You have a look. I think I sort of made my mind up. I'm going to go with cable. So bit of a mess really here. I did think there was a double top in place. Saw that breakdown. Hasn't played out. Rallied back really strongly, now breaking through this resistance here at 139.10 and this downtrend, short-term downtrend. So for me, could be some more strength here. We've seen a tiny bit of a pullback today, but buyers have stepped back in. Looking at it on the intraday chart was where I was most interested, because as you can see, we've got a really nice short-term uptrend here, potentially a bit of a flag or certainly a bit of a continuation pattern for me here. So just going to go with the flow with this. Momentum seems pretty decent for now. So going to continue to back it, looking for higher prices, buying at 139.66, going to target a move to 140.60 with a stop loss at 139.32. So looking for 2.7R on that one today.
Nice one.
What you got, Steve?
I'm really trying to sort of like get a little bit out of. Oh, it's all gone wrong. Yeah, let's do this one. Yeah, looking at gold, looks pretty punchy. I was trying to see.
Looks the same as the cable chart.
Yeah. Gold 5 days ago. No, nothing really sort of like relevant in there as far as that's concerned. So new sentiment. The only one I was looking at was Eurodollar, but that sort of like didn't really help me yesterday. We've got dollar yen. Obviously, we've got some news coming out very soon. What does that look like on the technical chart? Bearish engulfing over the bearish outside candle over the last hour. Interesting. Have we got anything a day ago? We got 20% confidence of a move down. It's not really a lot. Need something a bit more than that, really. Am I looking to sell dollar yen? Let's get rid of that for a start and jump back in here. I mean, weekly, it's a bearish engulfing on the weekly as well. So, yeah, why not? I know there's only a sort of small amount of potential on the new sentiment side of things, but technically, bearish candle last hour. Let's get short here. Put the stop 109.63, something like that. So it's quite a tight stop. Real short-term play, and let's go for a 3-to-1 down at the bottom of the ATR expected range or the bands. Yeah. So that's looking to target 109.05, getting short at 109.50, stop at 109.65. It's a 3-to-1 risk reward. Cool. I'm not getting carried away and going for the big ones, but yeah, let's hope this I get some sort of joy out of this today.
Yeah, both back in the weakness in dollar and the momentum to continue with that on the downside. So let's see how we get on. Okay, so in terms of news today, GDP again is the dominant one to keep an eye out for. We've got German, Italian, Eurozone and Canadian growth figures all released today. 10 a.m. we've got the Eurozone inflation number and also the GDP number. GDP is expected to grow to 1.5% quarter on quarter and 12.6% year on year. At 1:30 in the US, we've got the US personal income and spending data as well as PCE prices. 12:40 2:45 we've got Chicago PMI, and at 3 p.m. we've got the US Michigan consumer confidence to see out the trading month. So lots going on today. Obviously we can also have some month-end positioning factors to consider in the market as well, which may bring with it some volatility. But yeah, all in all, could be an interesting day if you're trading. But as always, trade safe.
Yeah, have a good weekend as well after this Friday's out the way.
Yeah, cool. All right, have a great weekend, everyone. See you Monday.
Cheers. Bye.